Welcome to this video. Now in this video, I'll introduce some of the most effective frameworks for crafting prompts that get precise, actionable responses from the AI model. We'll be covering 9 popular frameworks: ERA, APE, TAG, RACE, CARE, RISE, ROSES, TRACE, and COAST. Now each framework has its unique strength and is suited for solving different types of real-world problems. Let's dive in with the first one, ERA framework. Now the ERA framework focuses on 3 elements: expectation, role, and action. This framework is perfect when you want a quick, actionable response. For example, let's say you are an entrepreneur seeking advice on improving productivity in your startup. So I have added a prompt that fits in the ERA framework. So the prompt says, as a productivity consultant, which is the role, suggest 3 actionable strategies, which is the action, to increase productivity by 20% in the next quarter. That is my expectation. Now let's revise it. Expectation. What outcome do I want? That is to increase the productivity by 20% in the next quarter. Role. Well, what is going to be the role, or what role should AI assume? That is of the productivity consultant. And last, action. What specific task should it perform? So it says suggest 3 actionable strategies. So if I run the prompt, the AI gives me a pretty ensured output about exactly what to deliver. So it says, as a productivity consultant, here are 3 actionable strategies to increase productivity by 20% in the next quarter. It says, implement time blocking for focused work, automate routine tasks, set clear measurable goals with accountability systems, and so on. So by setting clear expectations, role, and action, we are ensuring the AI to deliver what is expected out of the ERA framework. Next is the APE framework, which is ideal for tasks where you need to clarify why the task is important. It focuses on action, purpose, and expectation. So let's say you are a manager tasked with developing an incentive program to boost sales. Now over here I have added a prompt and it says design an employee incentive program to motivate the sales team with the goal of increasing sales by 15% in the next quarter. So let's break down the prompt. First, the action. What needs to be done? It is design an employee incentive program. That is the action. Purpose. Why is it important? It is to motivate the sales team. Expectation. What is the desired outcome? That is to increase the sales by 15% in the next quarter. So if we run the prompt, I get the output in 3 parts, which is the objective, purpose, the action, program overview, and then lastly expectation. So this framework helps the AI focus not only what needs to be done, but why, ensuring a more purposeful response. Next is the TAG framework, which emphasizes task, action, and goal, making it great for specific tasks with measurable outcomes. So for example, we have a scenario that you need to improve customer satisfaction in your retail store. So let's look at a prompt. So over here, I have added a prompt that says analyze recent customer feedback, which is a task, and then identify 3 common complaints, action, and suggest ways to improve satisfaction by 25% goal. So let's revise the prompt once again by breaking it down. So task, first of all, what needs to be analyzed or done, which is analyze recent customer feedback. Next, action. What specific action should AI take? That is to identify 3 common complaints. And lastly, the goal. What result are you aiming for? That is to improve satisfaction by 25%. So let's run the prompt. So now, quite beautifully, ChatGPT has come up with 3 different steps that are divided in task, action, and goal. So in the first step, the customer feedback has been analyzed. that is slow response time, product quality issues, complicated user interface. And in step 2, identifying actions to address these complaints. Action, that is implement a live chat feature with AI powered bots, etc. And then impact, this can reduce customer frustration and improve the overall customer experience. And then lastly, there are other steps as well, but lastly, step 3 is setting a goal to improve satisfaction by 25%. So everything is measurable over here. So it says to achieve a 25% improvement in customer satisfaction, consider setting measurable KPIs such as reduce average response time by 50% from 48 hours to 24%, and then decrease product defect reports by 30% through improved quality control. And then lastly, increase user satisfaction with the interface by 40% based on usability surveys after the redesign. So overall, this tag framework is especially useful when the AI needs to focus on a specific goal, such as improving metrics. So it's really good when you want to improve or set a goal in numbers. Next is the RACE framework. The RACE framework is perfect for structuring prompts related to marketing or customer engagement. So it stands for reach, act, convert, and engage. So let's look at a scenario where you are a marketing manager launching a new eco-friendly product. So I have a prompt which says develop a digital marketing campaign to target eco-conscious millennials, convert them into first-time buyers through exclusive discounts, and engage them with weekly eco-friendly tips via email. So let's break down the prompt. Reach. Who is the target audience? Which is right here. To target eco-conscious millennials. Act. What is the action or campaign? Which is to develop a digital marketing campaign. And convert. How will you turn interest into sales? This is the part that converts, that is, convert them into first-time buyers through exclusive discounts. And then engage. How will you maintain engagement once the customer is in? By weekly eco-friendly tips via email. So let's run the prompt. So here's the output. It says, here's a digital marketing campaign framework targeting eco-conscious millennials. First is reach, targeting eco-conscious millennials. There are some tactics: social media advertising, influencer collaborations, content creation, SEO and blogging, Google search ads, and then convert, exclusive discounts for first-time buyers. Offer limited time discount, email sign-up incentive, abandoned cart email campaign, and referral programs, etc. And then keep them in the loop. That is engagement. So here are some tactics for that. That is weekly email series, customer stories and testimonials, social media engagement, exclusive member content. And then you can measure the key performance indicators, KPIs, in the end as well. So by including context and examples, this framework ensures that every step of the marketing journey, from reaching the audience to engaging them long term, is covered. Next is the CARE framework. Now, the CARE framework is great for complex prompts where context is crucial. It focuses on context, action, result, and example. So let's say we have a scenario that you're planning to enter a new international market. So here's a prompt. So it says, in the context of expanding into the European market, develop a market entry strategy that focuses on the top 3 countries with the highest potential using the approach employed by company X in Asia as an example. Let's break it down. Context. What is the background? So it says, in the context of expanding into the European market. That is my context. Action. What task needs to be done? So that says, develop a market entry strategy. And then result. What outcome is expected? It says, focuses on the top 3 countries with the highest potential. And then lastly, example means, is there a reference or model? So it says, using the approach employed by company X in Asia as an example. Now, company X could be any company. Now let's run the prompt. Here we go. So it says, to develop a market entry strategy focused on expanding into the European market, we can leverage the successful approach used by company X in Asia as a model. So here's a breakdown of the strategy. So number 1 is the context, expanding into the European market. And then we have action, which is to develop a market entry strategy. And it has some sub-points as well. And then we have result, that is entering top 3 European countries. which is the final outcome that is achieved by mirroring the success achieved by company X. Now you could add your own example company and come up with really fantastic outputs. But the whole point of this framework is that by including context and examples, the CARE framework allows the AI model to provide more informed and detailed responses. Next, we have the RISE framework. Now, the RISE framework focuses on role, input, steps, and expectations. So let's look at a scenario that you're tasked with reducing operational costs in a manufacturing plant. So I have a prompt for that. So the prompt says, as a cost management expert, which is the role, use last year's expense report to identify 5 key areas to cut costs with the goal of reducing total expenses by 15% this year. So let's break it down. Role. What role does AI play here? Which is of a cost management expert. Now, input. What information is provided? It says use last year's expense report. Now you can add your own report to analyze further. And then we have steps. What are the phases or actions? That is to identify 5 key areas to cut cost. And then expectation. What is the expected outcome? That is with the goal of reducing total expenses by 15% this year. So this is my expectation. So let's run. So based on the knowledge base that ChatGPT has, it has come up with an example output of a specific report. Of course, you can add your own report, but this is how it is structured. So it says to cut costs effectively, here's how you can approach this using last year's expense report. That is, analyze high cost areas and then so on, and then assess fixed versus variable costs, negotiate vendor contracts, and streamline operational processes, and then finally reduce discretionary spending. So, in short, this step-by-step approach ensures that the AI model delivers structured and actionable solutions. Next, we have the ROSES framework. Now, it's perfect for solving complex problems by focusing on role, objective, scenario, expected solution, and steps. So consider a scenario that you are a crisis manager addressing a product recall issue. And I have a perfect prompt to explain the example of the ROSES framework. So this is my prompt. So let's break down the prompt. So it says, as a crisis manager, which is the role. What is AI roles? It is of a crisis manager. Next is the objective. What is the main goal? That is to create a response plan. And then the scenario. What is a specific problem? That is for a product recall. And then expected solution. What solution should be achieved? That is to outline the key steps to restore customer trust and minimize negative publicity. And then steps. What are the actions or phases? So it says in 5 actionable steps. Run it. So now ChatGPT has come up with a product recall crisis response plan. That was the main objective. So then it is further divided into different steps. Step number 1 says immediate communication and transparency. Then we have step 2, implement a user-friendly return and refund process. Step 3 is deploy a customer support task force. Step 4 is proactive media management. And lastly, the step number 5, which says implement corrective measures and publicize improvement. Now, this framework ensures that the AI model provides a comprehensive step-by-step solution. And that's exactly what the ROSES framework did. Next, we have the TRACE framework. Now, TRACE framework ensures precision by focusing on task, request, action, context, and example. So let's look at a scenario where you are a sustainability officer tasked with reducing your company's carbon footprint. Very interesting. Now let's look at a prompt and break it down. So this is the prompt. So it says for this year's sustainability report, request an analysis of our company's carbon footprint by department, focusing on the areas with the highest energy consumption and compare it to last year's data. So first thing first, let's break down the prompt. The first thing is the focus, which is the task. What is the focus? That is to focus on the areas with the highest consumption. So don't worry about the alphabetical order of the framework, but just focus on how each element is covered. Next, we have the request. What is being requested? that is request and analysis of our company's carbon footprint. So it says request and analysis, that is the request. Now action, how should the data be presented, that is by department. So it says of our company's carbon footprint by department, can be any department. And then context, why is it being done? It is for this year's sustainability report. That is the context. And then later on, lastly, example. What comparison or reference is given? That is to compare with last year's data right here. Now, before I run the prompt, I just need to change one word and just say create or device, or maybe develop, that is develop an analysis instead of request an analysis, because then if I say to ChatGPT to request an analysis, it might give me an email in the output, which might not be the case with you. But just to be on the safer side, I'll just change one word, that is to develop an analysis of our company's carbon footprint by development. So if I run the prompt now, so I have the final output, that is covering the analysis of company's carbon footprint by department. So the first part says the overview of energy consumption and then carbon footprint by department. So you can add your own departments in this particular area, that is over here in the action. And lastly, we have the key areas with the highest energy consumption. So there's also comparison, and then we have some recommendations. In the end, a comparative analysis highlights both progress and areas for improvement as we aim to further reduce our carbon footprint and enhance sustainability initiatives. So TRACE framework basically ensures that every element is covered, leading to detailed and actionable output. Finally, we have the COAST framework, which is a comprehensive structure for large-scale tasks, as it stands for context, objective, actions, scenario, and task. So, for example, you are leading an HR initiative to reduce employee turnover. Now, let's look at the prompt and break it down. So, I have a prompt here and says, in the context of recent employee turnover, that is the context, means what is the background. It is in the context of recent employee turnover. Next is the objective, which is what is the goal. That is to develop a retention plan. And then actions, what steps should be taken. That is to include flexible work schedules and mental health support. Next, scenario, what specific area needs attention. That is to focus on high performing employees in the IT department. That is the scenario. And finally, the task. What deliverable is expected? So it says, and present a 12-month roadmap for implementation. That is the task. Now, if I run the prompt, I get this output. The first part says retention plan for high-performing employees in IT department. So this is the context, and this is the objective, which is to improve employee retention in the IT department by focusing a supportive work environment that addresses the need for flexible work schedules and mental health support. And then comes the actions part, where flexible work schedules is present, and then mental health support is present, then career development and recognition. And then there is something very comprehensive, that is the 12th month implementation roadmap. So month 1 to 2 is the assessment phase, month 3 is the policy creation, month 4 is communication and launch, month 5 to 6 is pilot flexible schedules, and month 7 to 8 is mental health support activation. Month 9 is review and adjust. Month 10 to 11 is recognition and development. And month 12 is full rollout and ongoing evaluation along with the details. Now, the COAST framework is excellent for generating comprehensive solutions that require both planning and action. So there was an action over here, and then there was some planning as well. So in conclusion, we have explored 9 essential frameworks: ERA, APE, TAG, RACE, CARE, RISE, ROSES, TRACE, and COAST framework. Each framework helps you structure prompts to ensure that the AI gives clear, relevant, and actionable responses, whether you are solving a simple task or a complex project. Now, for your assignment, choose 2 to 3 frameworks and practice crafting prompts for real-world scenarios you might encounter in your work, and test how different frameworks guide the AI to produce varied and insightful responses. I'm going to see you in the next lesson. Till then, keep learning and, of course, keep practicing.